it stays there, and it's hard to fight outside of that. But for me, and what my encouragement to other brothers and sisters that want to do their thing, right? Sometimes you got to create your own lane. You waiting for someone to open the door. Look, you're not Michael B. You'll be the best you can be.
And now in stereo. All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Lifestrong Project. Again, I'm your gracious host, AC, and as always, it is such an honor and privilege to be bringing you this show, man. On today, I'm really hyped about this because, in today's world, with all this, technology and job loss, it's a crazy time. And I truly believe that those who are creative by nature are the ones that are probably going to step up and take the next step in the world that we live in. So on today, I'm welcoming an independent filmmaker who's been creating films across every genre for the past 15 years through his company. What makes this story unique is his school of, and I love this, his school of figuring it out. I think I'm a graduate too. We'll see. I'll see if we're, we might be kindred spirits, graduate from the same school. I don't know. But he's literally done every job on film set. He's published books, 4 books, and has written over 100 songs. I'm trying to figure out where he fits in time to sleep, but we're getting that. I'm giving him a fascinating, multi-creative perspective. He's made films everywhere, from the Midwest to LA. He's currently promoting his action crime drama, Fighting Olympus, and an upcoming thriller, The Fear of It. His short film, Black Box, has been winning awards on the festival circuit. On today, y'all, I want you to give a hearty round of applause, and help me welcome today's guest, Julian Hampton. What's good, bro? What's going on with you?
Hey, what's good? What's good? How are you?
Hey, man, I can't complain. They don't listen to me when I complain anyway, so I try not to. You know how that is, man. So, hey, let's get into this because I'll pop the top right off of this, and then I'll let you introduce yourself. But I was interested in doing this interview because my wife is a creative. My wife is a filmmaker and a writer and a filmmaker. So I was like, okay, yeah, let's just see. Let's get into this one. This one's gonna be interesting. But I'm gonna defer to you, let you introduce yourself and a little bit about who you are and what you do. Then we'll get into this. All right?
Yeah. Thank you, AC. So I'm Julian Hampton. I am a PhD in the school of figuring it the heck out, and I also train in that endeavor. So that's my background. But realistically, I'm a creative at heart. So from, as you mentioned, books to songs to now movies, I just love this whole experience because I get the great opportunity just to think of an idea. And sometimes people are in a place where they think of it, but that's where it stays. But I'm so blessed to be able to turn those ideas into media and to have people enjoy it and share in that moment with me, because, it's one thing to do it, to write something, put it in your drawer, to make a film and no one sees it because you're concerned of what people are going to think. But it's another thing to get to a place where you're comfortable and confident in the creative spirit within you, and you just want to share it and let people enjoy just as much as you enjoy creating it.
Man, I've got so many questions, because I totally resonate with something you said. You said, hey, there's a lot of people out there that they have these ideas, they have this creativity, But the thought process, that's where it stays.
Mm-hmm.
It's right there. Did you ever find yourself in that gray area, that area of, yeah, I've got these ideas, man. I got this idea for this movie or this song or this book, and you were just like, but I don't know if people are gonna like it. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I don't know where I'm gonna get the money from. That's a huge one. Where am I gonna get the money to do it? Did you find yourself in that gray area? Number one, and number two, how did you get out of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I found myself in that gray area. You think about this is something that means something to you. It was created within you, and it's terrifying for you to share that with anybody, right? So even my first book, I didn't want to share it with anyone, but I happened to find a couple people that I trusted, let them see it, and even though, if you look at it, and I still have it, and this was before being published and all of that. I'm talking scissors, laminate, printer paper, and just hearing the words of that was good. And I'm like, really? Right? So it is a terrifying thing. It's like, sending your kids to a new babysitter and seeing what they say about your kids, right? Are they going to come back and say, hey, I'm not watching that kid ever again? Or are they going to say, you raised them right? It's just, yeah. So really it's, you have to find that ability to say, regardless if people enjoy it or not, regardless if it resonates with people, I'm putting it out there because somebody needs to hear it, and or else it just becomes so strong within you that you feel regret. So I've been that person where I'm not gonna say the movies, but there's movies that have come out that I'm like, I had that idea. It's right here, whole screenplay written, whole thing done, but not procrastination, but worrying about resources, worrying about what someone's going to think, afraid to share it with someone. And before you know it, someone else comes out with it. And it's the biggest thing that, oh, no one's ever came up with this. And, as they say, there's nothing new under the sun. It's just who acts, who moves forward on it. Right. So I've been in that situation, but I've kind of grown up. I've grown out of it. I'm at a place where I don't care. Realistically, that's the first lesson in that school I talked about, right? The school of figure it out.
Hey,
I don't care. I want people. Yeah, you want people to enjoy, but realistically, the first thing is, do I enjoy it? And if I enjoy the story and I enjoy the creation, there's always someone. You think of the biggest names in music. You think of someone like Prince, right? I'll just use him for an example because that's always was my brother's favorite artist, right? And I couldn't understand it when I was a kid. I'm like, I don't know what this dude's talking about. And then when I was a kid.
Okay, all right.
Like come on. Then I grew up. I'm like, oh, okay. I get it, right? So, in his time, and there's that line, I can't think of it. I think it's like Purple Rain or something. And he said, man, nobody likes your music. And I'm sure someone told him that. But the reality is, all it takes is for people to hear that reverberation, for people to hear that tone, and it starts to resonate. And before you know it, you're on to something. And that fear goes away. So for me, I started being comfortable with my voice. My voice started sounding better, right? It's kind of like, when you go through that stage from adolescence to, becoming a man and that voice changes. And you're like, and you, instead of feeling like, hey, right? I'm like, hey, right? I'm out there, hey. I'm there right now. And realistically, you have to
I
have
heard
that
that. I
mentality.
hit that. Yeah, I had to. I
Yeah.
had to- I'm there too.
Yeah, so when you get into that place where it just doesn't matter, I'm going to create. I love that
Mm,
people love what we do. I also am in the mentality, if you don't get it now, maybe you'll get it later, maybe you'll never get it, but um I got 100 more projects in my head to put out there, so I'll catch you on one of them or two of them. So that's where I'm at.
So let me ask this: what came first, music? Because I mean, you multifaceted, dude. So music, uh, books, film. Which bug bit you first?
Oh, music for
Is music.
sure. Yeah, music for sure. Hip hop, R&B. That was my world, right?
Mm, mm,
My word. Yeah, my that was my that was another me voice, battle rapping and all of that stuff. But um,
okay.
that 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 was my origins, right?
Hmm.
Understanding the creativity that I could tell a story in a song, right? It's such a powerful thing. You might listen, you might dance to it, you might sway to it, you might enjoy it, but deep within, somebody's telling a story, right? Whether it's
Yes.
a story, a real story, or it's a hypothetical. What would happen if I did this? So that hit me first because, I'm like, I can do, say whatever I want to say,
Mm,
and people can enjoy the experience of listening to the music, um, hearing the words. Some people get it, some people may not, but that bit me first. And I mean, I still to this day write songs. That's not my focus to produce them, but I
right.
just can't stop. It hits me. I write, and at sometimes they end up in the film, sometimes they end
Mm,
up just me singing them in the car, but um like that hit me so hard. But
wow.
what I realized is, when I transitioned from that to books, it was really because it's storytelling. It's just
Mm,
storytelling. So instead of you taking one song, which is its own story, that's basically a scene. Another song, another scene. Another
gotcha.
song, another scene. So it translates into books, chapters in books, scenes in films. It really translates, right? I'm telling a story. Um, so if I'm telling a story about um, having a relationship with someone that broke your heart, right? That,
Hmm.
or if that's a song, there's a whole story that can come from that, right? if I,
Okay.
if I'm talking about coming from a tough environment and overcoming that, right? That, yeah, that's a song, that's part of a story. So then I have to look at, okay, how do I make this into the process of building out that story, going from a concept to an idea
Hmm.
to a verse to adding the chorus, adding all of these components of it,
Hmm.
and that in itself can become a story that becomes a book that may turn into a film. So that the songs hit me hard. The songs transitioned me into books. Books transitioned me into film because everybody that was reading the books was like, "Yeah, this really need to be a screenplay. You need to do something with this."
Wow.
And
So is that
then,
how you got to?
yeah, well, I mean, even before that, like I was always someone, I would, if I had a camera, I'm playing with stop motion, right? I'm, you know,
I'm gonna tell you what I thought. I'm gonna
yeah.
and I thought because you said, hey, music. I started music first,
Hmm?
and then the shocker for me was the book. I thought the books would have come last, but you
No.
said you transitioned from music to book, and then into my mind was, I guarantee you the first thing he filmed was his video. That's So I'm like, I'm picturing you in your 90, your R&B pose, you know, the R&B pose. Right there.
Now I was the one that leaned down, right, like this.
You were that, all right.
Yeah, I was the tough one that leaned and looked
All
to the.
right.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah, that was my thing.
So you started film what? About around 15 years ago, right?
Yeah, I think my first one. Yeah, I would say around then, maybe around 10 to
Okay.
15, because there's some projects that I would say you could call it started, but it was figuring it out too. It was, do I even want to mess around with this thing?
Right.
So, creating skits, doing, with people that
Mm.
now a couple of those people, they're actors, right? Some of these people that
Oh,
we
wow.
would go in the park and, make up skits, and, even my very first film, which, talking about the no one will ever see that movie, because I didn't know anything about shooting, I didn't know about lighting, I didn't know about sound, and
Right.
and I watched it a few years ago, and I'm like, ooh, this will never see the light of day, but
Oh,
it was a beginning. And when I started understanding that the power that it has, think about this. Think about the power to get 50, 100 people to sit for 3 hours together, quiet, or laughing at the same time, or
mhm.
jumping back at the same time. It's an incredible medium. So when I started thinking about that, and I wanted to turn my first book into a movie. It may still happen, but I wanted to turn it into a movie. But I'm like, that's going to be a whole lot of money. What can I do for not a whole lot of money?
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And I'm excited about it.
Oh man, so I want to go back 15 years. Let's go back
Yeah.
15.
Hmm.
We're going back 15 years,
Yeah.
and younger Julian
Yeah.
is embarking on this new era of, okay, I've done music, I'm, in the middle of writing books, and I'm
Hmm.
thinking about doing this, this film thing, or
Yeah.
telling stories with, on a video platform of some sort. And what was one of the first things that you, well, not the first thing you learned, but one of the first things you learned that to this day Julian is like, this is law right here. This is
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Well, I think it would go to screenwriting, because writing books and writing films is two different artistries. They are not the same. They're writing. That's about as much as they have in common. They're writing, because picture the scenario. Um, if I was writing a story about, me walking down the street in my neighborhood, okay,
Mhm.
in a book I would write, I walked down, I was walking, the air blew upon my face, I felt its coolness, my eyes dripped a bit because of the moisture in the air. I looked to the left and I saw a small dog glaring at me as if he knew me from a previous life. Right? I'm walking down the
Okay.
street. Okay.
All right.
And in a screenplay, he walks to the house rapidly. He urgently walks to the house past
Okay.
the dog. So so really you're creating a picture with fewer words, rather
Okay.
than how beautiful you write the words, because I was enamored with kind of the flow. And this comes from my music writing, when you
Hmm.
can flow real smooth and it bounces and everybody's like, oh, right. Like if you're a lyricist and you hit that line that everybody's like,
Yes. Yes, sir.
oh, right. It's the same thing with books, where you hit these flowery tones, and people will put down the book and take a breath like, okay. And also I did in between the songs and the books, I did spoken word too. So I got a lot of, yeah, I got a lot of stuff in there. So the I'm sorry, that's just me. So the songs transition to spoken word, which transitions to words on a page in a book, which transitions to film. But what I had to learn is, how do you put yourself in a position where you condense all of that beautiful language and be able to still tell the same story, right? If I can tell a one-page story in one sentence,
Okay.
then that I'm writing a screenplay. So somebody can understand that whole package and take that, and somebody could be me producing it myself, or it could be, passing it off to someone. But someone takes that sentence and they can picture exactly a version of what I created without me saying all of that. So I think the artistry translates, but
Okay.
there's different skill sets, and if and I take that with me now, where okay, I can't say all of this because realistically, if I paint this beautiful picture of an actor, that might not even be the actor that plays the role. It just might. So I got all of this, and and he consistently scratches his beard. Well, maybe is there necessary to have him have a beard? What if I hire
Mm.
somebody that's clean shaven? What if they have no hair and they're the best for the part?
But wouldn't that okay? So I'm glad you said that. Wouldn't
Hmm?
that because, like I said, I know a couple of creatives, and they are sticklers for their vision.
Hmm.
So you mentioned the whole beard thing,
Yeah.
and you said, well, I may not hire somebody with the beard. These creatives that I know, if the vision says he's scratching his beard, it's gonna be a beard somewhere.
You're gonna add a beard on him.
Yeah, something. So you seem flexible
Uh-huh.
as opposed to a lot of creatives. They're just certain things. They're just no. That's the way I see it. That's the way I envision it. That's what I need. And a lot of will be. They'll be like, hey, as long as he has a beard, he may not be the height that I want him to. He may not, but he's gonna have that beard. Is that something you learned because you said you've done it all: director, producer,
Mm-hmm.
um, cleaning crew, the
Yep.
whole nine, lighting, sound, the whole
Yes.
nine. You've done it all. Is that something you learned throughout your travels that you said, you know what, you got to be flexible in this game because it may not turn out that way. So what you gonna do?
Yeah, I would say, what's your vision? Like, is your vision someone with a beard, or is your vision of this story? Does the beard even make a
Mm,
difference? Like, unless the beard translates into something that a point that gets connected at the end, and he had to have a beard, and
mm,
we knew this because of if it's
okay.
not any of that, what's the point? Like, and we have a movie that just I have a movie that just finished, that's in post-production right now, another legal thriller feature, and called Or Death. And there are some, when I was casting for that, there's some roles that were for guys, and when a lady killed it, I'm like,
Mm.
you're the one. I will change the name, because
Oh, wow.
the vision is of an attorney with this personality trait, not
Okay.
of a 6'2" man with this, with that, right? That sometimes if you get too attached uh to certain traits that don't really matter, you pigeonhole yourself and you end up with someone that looks the part but is not ready or complementary to the vision that you put forth. So I try to be as flexible as I possibly can, because I also think about this, as a black man, I don't want to limit, you don't always want to limit yourself to, it had to be a black role that I get. Okay. You can get, you look, you're the best for this. It was written for this person that I thought would look like this in my mind, but I
Right.
told you I don't care. You're the best. I'm rolling with you. You're
Mm.
going to be the one. And when you have that mentality, you get the best people. Now, it's no slight to anybody that has that vision where it has to look exactly like this.
Right.
But I think for me, my vision has it's almost like you paint a picture and the faces are still blank, right? So
Okay.
if you were painting and you had a whole scene, but you didn't fill in the details until you found your muse, until you found those individuals that you're going to finish on. So I create the environment, and then I want to let people shine, and the best, I work with the best I possibly can out of the people that are available.
You mentioned, and no, yeah, I'm rip the band-aid off. I don't even know why I'm hesitating. So you mentioned being a black filmmaker,
Yes.
and in this area, your
Mhm.
area of creativity, um, did you find it difficult as a black filmmaker to, number one, not necessarily, no, necessarily, did you find it difficult to gain, I guess, that level of professional, yes, I'm a filmmaker, I'm black, and I'm a filmmaker, and yes, I'm here, as
Mhm.
opposed to, you know uh, it's in that field, it's pretty difficult for people of color,
Mhm.
whether you're acting, filmmaking, it's always, you look at Sinners, the movie Sinners, their accomplishments, and it's just amazing yet troublesome to see that, instead of saying, hey, this is the most nominations
Mhm.
for a film,
Yes.
it's always, this is the most nominations for a black, or a film, you know created by a black filmmaker. And I'm like, what was the necessity in that?
Yeah.
Just say film. Just why it's always so. Do you find that most of what you do, maybe it's all of it, that it's often categorized in its own genre for some strange reason?
Yeah. Well, I think I don't necessarily run into that as a specific problem because my genres are all over the place. And
Hmm.
so you mentioned Fighting Olympus. That's action drama, action adventure drama. I guess you'd call it
Hmm.
that. Um, it's it's I wouldn't call it a black film, even though I you know my
Well, it's
but
not a
here's what
black film, but it is by a black filmmaker,
it is by a
for sure.
black filmmaker, yes, and it has two individuals that are the stars that are black men playing heroes in the movie, right? So
Mm.
but it still appeals to a broad audience that gives a high level of respect in the black community because we're painting that picture as, look at that, that's somebody I can look up to, I like that. But it transcends, blackness is not, blackness is way broader than just black film equals, because there's this connotation that black film equals lower quality, and that is
Yes.
not the case. And Sinners is not the first, and there
No.
were ones going way back, way back, quality, high level, great, and those were movies by black men and women that were successful. So I take it seriously, um representing, my brothers and sisters, but I also don't want it to be pigeonholed, because once you put it in that category,
Yeah.
it stays there, and it's hard to fight outside of that. But for me, and what my encouragement to other brothers and sisters that want to do their thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you got to create your own lane. You waiting for someone to open the door. Look, you're not Michael B. You'll be the best you can be, right?
Yes.
Sometimes people in the Hollywood sector, there's a person that for this moment they're on top, and you hope that they sustain that, but things always seem to happen.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to be that, be the best you and represent yourself by your actions, and your creativity, rather than just boxing yourself in, right? So I think there's challenges, but I
Mm-hmm.
think there's also opportunities, because um, I get humbled when I hear people saying that, thank you for giving me the opportunity, right?
Wow.
Thank you for, like, I got some people that are doing some big things, and they're like, you were the first person to give me a chance,
Wow.
and there's one actor that I worked with, and they had the heart, they had the desire, they really wanted the role. I could see them in the role. Um, they just needed some sharpening, and
Mm-hmm.
I was willing to, as a director, to just work with them before I even cast them. I'm gonna work with you. I want to give you the best shot. Here's how to say it. Watch this. Look at that. And they ended up being successful, and their success has continued as one of the leading roles in the film. So yeah, there's some challenges, but I look at it opportunities. I love my blackness, so I'm good, right? And I'm gonna represent, and I'm gonna look for opportunities, but I don't want to be pigeonholed, because by the time you think here's where he is, he's
Yep.
somewhere else.
Okay.
He's somewhere
As we
else.
as we learn, like I want to talk about these books now. I'm like, so started with music.
Yeah.
We jumped into uh, film, and but we haven't really honed in on this writing, and you've got four of them, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I
So
do have four. Yeah, I do have four books, and they're all over the place too. They're all over the place. So my first one was, seriously, like I told you. Look, AC, I told you I don't care. So I wanted, the first one was a crime drama, and it was had
okay,
some connection to some of the things I seen growing up, but then you gotta make it more fantastical, right? So you add some
right,
elements to spice it up, but that was my first one. After that, I transitioned into a thriller, and that was the very first thriller I ever wrote. Um,
mm,
and that was called Limbus. First one was called The Contradiction, and it was Limbus, and that one was where I really started building confidence, because it was cool going to book signings, and going to speaking events and all of this. That really
right,
opened my eyes to the impact you can have. And then I wrote a children's book, my very first children's book, um, and that one showing the power in your gifts, right? It was kind of this fantasy type story that shows the power in your creativity, about a
mm,
little girl with this magical ability um, to create desserts, and how that allowed her to save her community, right? So
right,
and then I went to spoken word, a book of spoken word, um, Love, Life, and Kingdom. And that was pretty enjoyable too, because I connected that with spoken word events. And, as somebody that, at times can be introverted, you give me a mic and something to talk about, that's in my heart, and I'm gonna have some fun. So that was really enjoyable. So all of those four, but at that time, after I finished that, my mind just kept leaning. I want to see it. I want to see it on TV. I want to see it at the theater, and it just
Mhm.
pushed me to going into the film area.
Man, so I mean, that's a lot. I mean, that's a lot. Film, books, music. I'm like, okay, it seems like you've got a lot constantly, not just okay, I got now I'm gonna take a break. It seems like you constantly have a lot on your plate.
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten to a point where you're like, man, you know, the alleged, I'm not gonna say alleged, no, it happens. The wall, you know, you hit that wall and you're like, I don't know what to do right now. Like, I don't know what the next step is. I don't know where I should go from here. And you maybe have 2 or 3 projects sitting in front of you, and you just hit that wall. Boom. What's your thought process? How do you navigate through that and continue?
Yeah. Well, we have an unlimited supply of creativity if we choose to dip into it. So I dig into it and I create something else. Like I'm not gonna beat my head against the wall, right?
So if you have 3 projects sitting in
Uh-huh.
front of you,
Uh-huh.
you will start a 4th?
Why not? Why not? So here's the key, and this is helpful to people that are looking to do some of these things. You
Okay.
don't have to. If I think of a fourth one, I don't have to finish it. I come up with the concept, I come up with components, I come up with the key things I want to see, right?
Okay.
What is a key thing? What would be a really unique situation to put someone in? And I write it down. I usually use notes on my phone, and then I see something, I type something else in. And before you know it, I have the skeleton of a story. So so right now I have I have probably about 10 to 15 um, screenplays either completed or in the mix, right?
Right.
But this last film, the film I'm working on right now in post production, that one was okay. I don't I'm, I don't see what I want to see with this. Let's create something new. You know what? What about a legal thriller? Okay.
So wait a minute, but what about the one that's in post?
No, that is the one that's in post. That's the one that was just
Okay.
that's recent. So I put all of that together. Yeah.
Okay, but you said if you don't see what you wanted to see in that one,
Hmm.
you literally navigate to something completely new.
Well, yeah.
What a, so what about that one that's that one that you were navigating from? Does it just stay in?
It stays until that it hits you. Okay. So for example, I had the previous one, not the movie I'm working on now, the fear of
Okay.
it, right? The fear of
Right.
it. Going through everything, but there was a place where I kind of got stuck.
Okay.
On vacation, walking down the road, the answer hit me. Oh, oh, that's it, that's it, that's it. Type it up, bring it back to the lab. Now I can continue with the story. Now, if you try to force it,
Wow.
it's not going to feel not. It's going to look like it's forced. You ever watch a movie where it's going good and then you're like, they just threw that in there. I don't even know why they did that.
Yes, we have a subscription to Tubi.
See?
No.
See?
Hey, no. Yeah, but yes, I've seen it. Yeah.
Okay. So when you run into that, that's because you're more apt to try to finish quickly than you are to actually complete your vision. So
Mm.
I'm the only one that at that point knows what my vision is, right? It's me. And if I'm not happy with the way my vision is progressing, then I need to wait until that creative pool bubbles and starts heating up that vision to a place where I can say, now I know what I want to do. And when it hit me, it was full speed ahead. Same thing with this new movie Or Death. It hit me. I went in on it. That one I didn't run into any blocks. I just was rolling, rolling, rolling. Finished the screenplay, started casting, started the business side of things, shot it. Now it's in editing and in color and all of that stuff, and it'll be, hopefully by the end of this year, we're good to go. But there's no reason to force it. One thing that happens too, AC, is if you do force the most fun you have is the creating. When it's done, it's almost sad. There's almost a feeling of, oh man, because it's such a joy to see things come together, right? To see what you built. Why do people enjoy cooking as much as they do eating? Because it's the creativity and the, okay, I'm flavoring it, I'm sauteing it, I'm roasting it, I'm putting it together, right? Okay, you guys can eat. You want some? No, I just I just like cooking. So
Man,
yeah, I enjoy the creative parts of it, but I also realize the business parts of it come with the creation, so you can share it with as many people as possible.
let me ask you this: Are you a perfectionist?
Yes, but
Uh-huh.
I give grace
To
to
who?
others and me.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah,
So, saying that,
yeah.
have you ever looked at one of your dishes? Because that's the analogy you use. So, have you ever looked at one of your dishes and said, "I left it on too long," or
Hmm.
I used the wrong seasoning,
Yes.
and and borderline beat yourself up
Yeah.
because of it? How do you? Because and that's why preface this whole thing with, are you a perfectionist?
Mhm.
How do you navigate? Because most creatives in their whatever they do, um they are perfectionists, whether they want to believe it or not, whether they want to accept that or not. They are perfection. I know people who do music. I know one partner of mine, he's got an album that has not been released in like 3 years. I'm like, release
Hmm.
that joke, it's ready. He
Yeah.
keeps letting me hear the music, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Nah, it's not ready. I'm like, "Well, when is it ready?" Because to me, it sounds fire. To
Yeah.
him, there's more seasoning. Oh, it's not al dente yet. It's not there. So how do you navigate? When do you say, no, I'm putting it out?
Well,
Got it.
okay. So let's dig into the food topic, right?
All
When
right, I'm hungry.
I know it is about lunchtime. So when you continue to cook something that's cooked, what happens?
It gets overcooked.
It
It's
gets
you know
overcooked. It gets dried out.
right.
You got to be careful from letting your creativity and your projects get dried out by continuing to tinker with them. When the
Mm,
recipe is made the best you can make it with the ingredients you got to serve that
mm,
and then learn from it for the next dish. So for me, I look at it as, okay, I am a perfectionist. My
okay.
perfection, but what I consider perfection is, did I give my very best that I possibly could? And that's one thing consistently with me. I'm going to give one. Have you ever been on a set with me? If you ever, been in the studio with me, I'm giving it all. Like I'm
Mm,
leaving, I'm empty. I'm empty when I'm done. So if I can say I gave everything I could, I used every knowledge point I could, I did everything with the budget I had, and I'm always going to have that pace in my mind, that what if, man, if I did this, if I moved this way, if I focused a little more, if I changed that line, oh, it should, that fight scene should have been longer. And what, but I can use that mentality for the next film. I'm not going to sit on this one project I'm not gonna sit on this one dish. Look, hey, it was good. Next time use more salt. Okay, I'm gonna make a
Mm.
different dish and I'll make sure that it's seasoned right. So as I continue to grow in my filmmaking career, I address those with future projects, right? I can remember AC my very first screening, and I didn't know anything about room tone. So there's areas in the film where if you don't use that room tone to fill in certain gaps, you
Mm-hmm.
end up hearing going from silence to room noise, right? Like in your house, you can't hear it necessarily, but if you recorded it and listened to it independently, every single location has a different sound, right? So
Okay.
if your house and my house have different sounds, so I would need to record your part in your house, my part in my house, and then that would even it out. And I'm looking back, watching it, I'm stuck in my seat because like, oh no, did anybody hear that? Oh, what is that? I don't know what that is because I didn't know at the time.
Right.
But what the audience told me was, God, we love that story. Someone asked me the other day, hey, you gonna ever re-release that story? I'm like, I moved on. Like it's, I don't know that I want to tinker because I got so much ahead of me.
Right. But don't you? I mean, but the fans want the story. I mean, when should if again cooking? If you're the chef and somebody orders something from you one night
Mm-hmm.
and you produce that meal and they love it, regardless of how you could be like, man, should have added more salt, should have added some paprika, maybe some onions, whatever. But if the consumer loves it and comes back and says, I want that again, shouldn't you, as the chef, go back to making that dish? But shouldn't you give them that dish? You
Well,
can't just move on. You can't
it,
say, you can't say, you can't say, no, 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 no. I've moved on. I've moved on.
I'm I'm curious what you're gonna need after this because you messing with. I started it. I apologize, but here's what I'm saying. Initially, who am I cooking for?
Mm-hmm.
Who am I cooking for? Am I cooking for others or am I cooking for myself first? Right? If I don't like it, not even don't like it because I really love the story,
Okay.
but do I have the time to dedicate to a previous moment in my life that
Mm-hmm.
was
Okay.
for that season?
I
I'm
got
not
you.
I'm not there anymore. My I think differently than I did when I created that. I look at things
Mm.
differently.
Okay.
There's angles that were shot in there that I wouldn't shoot right now. There's
Mm.
equipment that if I had it or even understood how to use it,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I would use it. So I don't think it does necessarily justice to it to try to bring that into now and mess with it because sometimes the memories of it is what keeps it stronger, right? It's like if
Right.
it rather than doing a sequel, sometimes there's movies where you always wish there was a sequel, but that's what makes it so exciting. And then when they do a sequel,
Right.
you're like, you should have just
Yeah. Should have stuck with the. Yeah. You should have ended it right there. Nah, you didn't do it.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's my mentality. If I take one step, if I got one foot in the past and one foot trying to reach where I'm going, I just end up stretching something. So
Mm.
I
Okay.
can't, I can't, I can't do that. I gotta keep pressing, you know.
Right. I got the visual. Never mind. No, wait, all right. Hey, hey, hey. So your company, and I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it right
Yeah,
because it looks like Vaughanworks, but
it
something's telling
is.
me it is
No, you're
Vaughanworks.
right.
Okay,
Yeah, Vine
all
works.
right. I just wanted to make sure. So
Yeah,
but Vaughanworks LLC. This is
yeah,
your company that you produce all this stuff through. This
yeah.
is your films and everything. The books too. All that comes through
Yeah, yeah,
Vaughanworks.
Yeah, that does come through Vaughanworks. Now, I don't really, just because I'm in a different place, I don't really
Right.
promote them like I used to, but it all comes through there. The writing, the any music, any film, that's where it goes through.
So what's next? And I'm almost scared to ask because I feel that if I ask what's next for Von Works and Julian Hampton,
Mhm.
I could be starting you on you may something may come to your mind during this episode and you're starting something else.
Mhm.
I'm like, this brother doesn't need to start nothing else. He's got
Oh, yes, he does. Yes, he
enough.
does.
But I'm gonna go ahead and ask it anyway. What's next for Von Works and
Yeah.
Julian Hampton?
Well, right now, I'm really excited about the two recent projects. So, Fighting Olympus, definitely excited about that. Love people to check that one out. Um, or The Fear of It, which that one came out a little earlier this year. Well,
Mhm.
actually, yeah, I think it was this earlier this year, maybe December or so. So that one's pretty new, and um, that one is a psychological thriller, kind
Mm,
of talking about what happens to you know what happens behind the scenes when a team is trying to determine solve a mystery about a serial killer. So sometimes you don't hear about the stories behind the story. You just see crazy guy, good cops, good this, good that, and you don't understand what happens to the person who picks up the bodies. How do they face trauma?
mm,
What happens to the crime photographer? How do they process these things? How do the detectives, on a personal level, have an approach to this mystery, but also realizing that they have a chance to be the next victims. So, really enjoying the experience with that one and
mm,
taking that experience to something that if you told me 10 years ago, I would be like, I don't know if we could pull this off, but into a legal thriller and, the joys of digging into um, legalese and that environment, but also making it a story and a story about um, attorney facing a unjust system
mm,
that's propagated um, against the society. So you got you got Fighting Olympus, which is again a brother trying to rescue his a SWAT team captain trying to rescue his brother from this underground cult. You got The Fear of It, which is a psychological thriller, and now you got a legal thriller. And then I got more going after that. Uh, I got romantic comedies that I want to get into. Um, I have more dramas. I have, yeah, I got a lot of
take a
ideas,
nap.
and I,
Take a nap. I don't.
I want I get my
Speaking of,
nap time.
ah,
But here's the problem, AC. I'm napping. I'm thinking. I wake up and I'm like, oh, I got another one, right? So I think it's, how cool is it when you can just, I say this all the time, and I say this to my cast and crew. How cool is it when we can play adult make believe?
wow,
Really,
wow.
that's what we're doing. How cool is it that we can dress up in costumes, film ourselves, and change people's lives, impact people, make them smile, make them think, make them laugh, make them cry, any of
Mm,
these things, and it's just make believe, right? So
mm,
that's kind of how I look at it. You take any of the movies out, you could take Sinners or some of these other movies out. It's just somebody had an idea and they're make believing that oh, what if think of what you were when you were a kid. What if there were vampires and then there were people that played banjos and there that's all it is. So to me, that's the happy place. That's that's
Mm,
that's that's what that's not where you feel worn out. That's where you feel rejuvenated.
right. Right. I mean, like they say, if you ever get a chance to do what you love to do, you never work a day in your life. So
Yes.
I assume we just want you to take a break, bro.
I will have
We
I will I will have my break. I'll take a little. I'll take a mini break after Or Death comes out.
we man, Julian Hampton, man. This has been incredibly inspiring, man. We appreciate you stopping through on the Lifestrong project. For our listeners who want to follow your work, where can they find when it's done? Where can they find Fighting Olympus or the fear of it, and keep up with what you're going to do next? Whatever God knows what that's going to be. How can they keep up or stay in touch or in within eye shot, of course, and
Sure.
earshot? How can they keep abreast of what's going on?
Yeah. Well, so first for contact information, they can find me on Vaughanworks LLC. You can find that on Instagram, also on Facebook, VAUGHANWORKSLLC. So you can find me there. Vaughanworks.com. You can find some information there and some other projects that we've done. Um, for Fighting Olympus, that one's on a variety of channels. Amazon, uh, uh, Tubi, Google, um, Fossum. There's probably about 10 to 12 different places. And I'm really excited about that because that one's won a few awards as well. And we had a
Oh,
great premiere and
congratulations!
yeah, thank you. And we had a great premiere in Times Square, which was really memorable.
Wow,
Yeah, yeah.
wow.
So that was pretty fun. Or Death. Right now, it's making its mark around. So Amazon, Tubi, Google, um, but that one's going to expand too. So be able to look out with that. And then you can also follow. We're going to start uploading some of the behind the scenes for Or Death. So if you want to know what goes into making a legal thriller, and
Mm.
how does that finished product that you see, where you're like, whoa, how does that come together? And sometimes as you look at the making of certain projects, it's like, oh, what are they doing? And then you see it and it's like, oh, that's what they're doing. So you can follow along with those projects and more to come, right? We're just scratching the surface. I'm excited about everything we're going to bring to the table and just the ability to create. I love it.
Man, hey, Julian Hampton, everyone. Golly, brothers got about 4 or 5 different jobs.
Yeah, man.
We wish. All right, y'all. It's Julian Hampton proving every day that if you're willing to figure it out,
Yeah.
you can create the passions that you want to see, hear, read, feel, whatever. All right, man, Julian, we appreciate you joining us on the day, man. And
Thank
hey,
you.
listeners, if this conversation inspired you or gave you some actionable filmmaking advice, please hit that like button, like and/or subscribe button to the channel. It really helps us bring more conversations and creators like Julian here, who are out there making it happen. Bro, we appreciate you stopping through.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
We send prayers and well wishes, man. I'm dying. I can't wait to get on Amazon or whatever and see these finished products of you, so I can literally sit there and be like, interviewed that brother right there. Yeah. I'm just dying to see the finished work, bro. All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Again, thanks for coming through, man. And that's all for today, everyone. Remember, your life is fleeting. Cherish it. Your life is ever changing. You gotta adapt to it. Most of all, your life is yours. Only you can live it. On behalf of Julian Hampton, I'm your boy AC. And that's it for today. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Lifestrong Project.